So I kind of signed up for like 3 test knits at the same time. Hello, my name is Emily Crow from Crochet Creations, and welcome to my YouTube channel, The Cozy Crow. On here, I love to talk about all things yarny and bookish as well. I'm kind of transitioning my content a little bit to include more book things since I've really been enjoying reading, but this video is episode 39 of my crochet and knitting podcast. In this episode, I'm going to talk to you about everything that I worked on in January, as well as new yarn acquisitions and a few finished objects that I have to share with you. I don't have any big news right now going on, other than it's very gloomy outside, so hopefully the lighting is okay and not too blown out. You can see the colors pretty well and everything I'm sharing with you. Lots of new projects to share, which I'm really excited about. What I'm wearing today is my love note. I knit this 2 years ago. Yeah, just about 2 years ago for the Love Note is in the Air Cal that I did with my friend Jessica of JS Threads. And I used knit picks for this. I think I used Palette, and then I also used their like mohair base. I have underneath this, I have a half tee, which is a specific company that has like layering tees. They have some full length things, but mostly they're known for half length tees and tops and things for modesty purposes, basically. So the one I have right now is the one with an actual sleeve, and that's so that like the very under part of my arm, not my armpit per se, but like the very top of my underarm, that's like the most sensitive part, especially to mohair, that's covered with fabric so that I don't have like irritation from wearing a mohair sweater. I love it. It keeps me modest with the big lace portion right here, and also protects my arms again from that mohair. So highly recommend if you're wondering about like layering things, and that way you don't have like all the fabric on the bottom part to like worry about tucking and layering. I'm just covering the part that needs to be covered right now, and it's working great. So if you like half tee, I recommend them. I've got a few of them. They're perfect for layering with my sweaters. Oh, and this Love Note sweater is by Tin Can Knits. And as I'm talking, I'm realizing that I'm sounding worse and worse. This video is going to be a smidge late because I had laryngitis really bad last week. I was a little bit under the weather, but mostly I just could not talk. Like I almost called out sick to work because I could not talk and I was worried. But then I had a night shift and I'm like, my patients are sleeping anyway. We'll make it through, okay? As long as no one is hard of hearing, like we'll be fine. I could not talk last week, could not film because I could not talk. You can hear a little bit in my voice. I'm still getting over this cold. I feel like I've constantly been sick already this year, but I'm feeling a lot better. I can at least talk now, and while I sound a little bit under the weather, you can at least still understand me, and I sound mostly like myself, so I figured I would still film. So here we are. With all that out of the way, let's just get right into finished objects. Night shift tomorrow night, so I need to stay up. I've got my caffeine, kind of switching my schedule over, so I'll be up late tonight. I've got 2 finished objects to share with you. Both are socks, actually. This one is a long-term whip. I started it in July of last year, but these are my contrast blast socks by Stephen West. This was his mystery knit along for the month of July, I think. For these, I knit 1 sock in July. I have 2 vlogs on my channel, so you can watch and see the process as I'm doing those clues, making these socks, trying it out, and then I just took forever to knit the second sock. So I finally finished. I put my nose to the grindstone and I just worked on it, and it didn't take that long because it's just a sock. And ta-da! You'll see they are mirror images of each other. I can't tell you which one I made first and which I made second, but I used 2 colors from Mulberry Fiber Co. This main color is called Raspberry Cordial, and this contrast color, the like creamy bit with some fun speckles in there, is called Flower Crown, and they're both from the Anne of Green Gables collection. Is that correct? Anyway, some really great contrast. I'm glad that I picked these colors. These are some kooky socks. I've not worn them yet, but they are thick because they are color work, and they are also a little bit on the bigger side, so they'd be nice cozy house socks for me. I'm very happy that these are finally done. I would say my favorite parts are this like lace stitch heel flap. I also do like this stair step type of situation. Also, there's some fun cables that kind of cut across the cuff. Love all of those pieces, though this is just a lot going on. This isn't necessarily my style, but I had so much fun. I think that his shawl patterns are a little bit too much to do for something I'm not sure I'll wear, but for socks, I'll totally make a crazy sock just to try it out and to do a knit along. So I definitely see myself doing this particular sock knit along again from Steve & West, even if it's a little bit kooky for me. The other finished object I have from the month of January is, they're kind of a vanilla sock, but I did something fun on the toe. Boop. You can see I've got hearts on the toe, and I did a heart on the top and the bottom, so that's why you get a heart on the side, kind of. So let me show you. Ta-da, little heart on the toe, some color work, and again, it's on the back side too. So they're mostly vanilla, and just that little bit, it's like another 10 rows of the toe has been extended up in color work. And I just got this idea because I saw this color. This is Sorella yarn, 1989, so Taylor Swift inspired. I wanted something fun and variegated, something colorful I'd mentioned in my previous podcast. And so I picked this skein out, and as I started working it, I realized this is perfect for Valentine's Day. And I got the idea that it would be so fun to put a little heart on the toe. And so I went and I made a chart. I'll pop it up here so you can screenshot if you have a 64 stitch count sock size that you're working on. This is a 32 stitch chart that I put together myself, so you can screenshot it. You can use it if you want to put little hearts on your toes. Again, it's like 10 rows before you start the toe normally that you would start doing this color work. I use the ladder back jacquard method of color work, and so basically your floats, instead of just twisting them around your yarns, you knit another layer of knitting behind your right side of the work to catch those floats specifically. So it's a little bit more secure. It's a little bit harder to see those floats. So I've really liked that. I did it on this, and it was really good practice because it's been a while since I've used that method. And so I'm really happy I did that. They're just cute, something fun and a little different, a little fun surprise. I did do a heel flap and gusset on this sock. Oh, the only other difference is I knit this sock in a size 0 needle instead of a size 1, which I normally use, because I wanted to see if like a tighter gauge fit my foot a little better and made the socks a little bit sturdier. Time will tell. But I thought that that would be fun to try. So I have those socks. I shared them on my Instagram too, so if you're interested, you can check out both like the method that I use. I did a little tutorial reel on the ladder back jacquard method, but also if you're interested in the color work charts, I included them there for the 64 stitch count sock. So you can make some cute heart toes too if you want. But yeah, not intentional. I didn't pick like a Valentine's color, but they ended up being like that, and so I was inspired and I ran with it. So those are the only finished objects I have. Let's move into our whips, or works in progress. Let's start with the one whip that you have seen if you've watched a previous podcast. This is the Grove Shawl Light pattern by Sarah Opie, and I am using my Sunday countdown calendar from Through the Wardrobe Yarn Co. that I got in December. I love all of these colors. I've started actually, oh wow, I left a stitch marker to mark my progress. I'm learning, I'm growing. I've just started fading into the third color. Ta-da! And you can see I was right about there last podcast, so I haven't made a ton of progress, but I finished fading in the second color, knit the second color, and now I'm starting to fade in the third color. So this shawl goes from color 1, 2, 3, 4 in the middle, back down to 3, 2, 1. I've got a ways to go before I'm even halfway, but this is just a nice, easy knit. It's been a while. I put this down for like probably 3 weeks because I have a lot of other projects that hopped onto my needles and hooks and that are keeping me busy. So this has sat by the wayside, though I do hope to get back to this soon. It's a little hard to tell from this color because there's only a couple stripes of it, but the next color I'm using is this green. I think this is called Christmas Tree Farm. It's got some purple in it too, so I thought it would be good to fade with this Spiced Chai mauve color. The first color I used was called Fireside, and the next color that you have yet to see any of is this one, called Comfort Read. It was a bookish inspired calendar, and I adore all these colors, so I'm really excited to see how this works up. This is a nice and simple shawl. It's made for 4 full skeins of yarn as a fade, so it's just perfect. This is my favorite Advent project right now that I'm working on. None of the others have gotten some love in the past little bit, but I made some time for this despite all the other projects I have that I'm about to show you. All these other projects are new, and I volunteered for some test projects, and I was selected for some test projects, so I accidentally have 3 test projects on my needles and hooks at the same time, which was not my intention, but I'm happy to be making all of them. I just couldn't help myself. The first one that's the most of the way done, because I've got one sock totally ready. These are the Lightning Socks by Carly Perrins, and how she does most of her sock design releases is she'll have a collection of socks. So this is from the Storm Season sock collection. I'm doing the cuff down version of the Lightning Socks. This is what they look like. Really pretty cable just on the top and a ribbing throughout the whole sock. I'll show you the front of how that cable looks. So not too tricky, though there was like a 6-stitch cable that gets really tight. You only have to do it 6 times on the whole sock, so I could manage. So I have one finished sock. This test is due Thursday this week, so I'm hoping that the weather's nicer tomorrow. I can take some pictures with this. And I have started the second sock already. I finished 1 repeat of the cables, so that means I've got 2 more to go. And then it's just easy peasy rib on my sock. So I really like this yarn. This is Speckled Finch Studios in the color Eloise. It is their 80-10-10 base, so it's got superwash merino, cashmere, and nylon. It is nice and soft, so I've been enjoying it. It's this beautiful like minty pale green, and there's some speckles of like a marigold in there, some speckles of like a magenta, and so I found this in my stash. This will look familiar. This is Raspberry Cordial from Woolberry Fiber Co. that I just used for my contrast blast socks, so I decided to use it as my contrast here too. I'm a little nervous about blocking these, that this pink is going to run over. I'm going to use all the color catchers. I'm going to use cold water because that'll help, and I'll just keep a close eye on it, and just, I don't mind if like the whole thing turns like slightly pinker, but if there's like splotches of pink, that is a no-go. So I'm going to keep a close eye on it when I do block it. And I'm excited. These are so cute. I don't normally go for such a wide contrast between the toe and the sock itself, but the speckles match the color perfectly. And so it was a match made in heaven. To do my cables, I'm actually using some flexi flips because I couldn't find a cable needle, and I needed 2 cable needles for that 6-stitch cable that was going on, that crazy cable. So I had a couple of flexi flips. They were easier to grab. And because they're so long and they're bendy in the middle, I could just like slide my stitches on here and then leave my stitches in the middle and not worry about my needle falling out, because it was bendy enough that like it wasn't a straight shot to just slide all the way out of my stitches. And they worked really well. I mean, they're a little bit longer than I would ideally like for a cable needle, but they're really secure. And because they're not wooden, they're also easy to slide the stitches on and off of, unlike some wooden cable needles. They keep your stitches more secure because they're more grippy, but then they're more grippy, and I don't really like that tension. So they're working out well. So hot tip, if you have any flexi flips or something, I think they work a little easier than using a DPN as your cable needle because they're flexible. And so the actual stiff part of the needle is shorter than in a DPN. This is kind of my priority project just because it's easiest to take with me on the go, and it's just the smallest project I have right now, and so it's a lot easier to manage. So this is the one I've been bringing with me for waiting rooms and for knitting on the go and taking to work and things like that. So it won't take too long, I think, before these are done. The next test I have to share with you is actually a crochet pattern that I'm testing for my friend Jessica of JS Threads. She's not designed for the general public in a while. She's done some things with her local yarn store with some amigurumi, but this is a shawl design, and I was really excited to support her. We've been talking back and forth, and she show me the colors that she was thinking about buying like way long ago from Fuzzy Peach Fibers, and she was telling me how she had this idea for a shawl, and then she was talking to me about how she was working out the lace detail and she was really proud when it actually worked out. So it's been really cool to follow along with my friend as she's been working on this pattern, and now that it's like coming to life, I really wanted the chance to test it for her. Uh-oh, where is my stitch that's live? Oh, here it is. Okay. My hook was just willy-nilly and I was worried I was going to unravel something. I'll show you what I have so far. Ta-da! So it starts out long and you get shorter and shorter every round, which is nice. I am doing a fade. You can see a little bit with this lighting. You can see a couple little stripes as I'm starting to fade. I am using, I kept the tag, Marianated Yarns Smooth Sailing Shaded Gradient Set that I purchased last year from Petit Fours and Pearls, which is a local yarn store to me in Lehigh, Utah, a little bit farther away, but not too bad. And I purchased this. The colors include Polar Frost, Arctic Ice, Glacial Lake, Sea of Glass, Tidal Pool, and Jordan Pond. So I've got those colors in here, plus a couple other random colors. I've got 1, 2, 3 in here of other teal type yarns and a cream, but things that I thought would kind of blend in well with this fade, because this pattern takes closer to 300 grams than to 200 grams. And this package of yarn that fades together is like about 200 grams, but actually mine is closer to like 180 grams. It's like 30-ish grams per color. So I definitely needed to supplement my fade, but I also have a lot of teal scraps. So I think it'll work out with the scraps I have. I have my other 2 colors that I'm currently working on. I decided to do, when I have 10 grams left of one color, then I'll start to fade in the next color. And the colors are close enough that I'm not going to do any complex fading with this stitch pattern. It's a moss stitch, and so it would be a little tricky to do cutting my ends every row. I just didn't want to do that. And I also don't know, especially as the pattern goes on and the rows get shorter and shorter, I didn't want to have to worry about like changing the rate at which I was fading the colors in. So I just said, I'll just do 2 rows of one color, 2 rows of the next color, and alternate for the section that I'm fading. So I've got less than 10 grams now, probably like 5 grams left of this, and I've started into this skein. Once the skein is done, then I'll just do this until I have 10 grams left of this, and then I'll add in my next color kind of thing. So this is a nice, simple pattern. It's a moss stitch. It's a little hard to see with how dark this is, so I'll show you my swatch, which is also a little tricky to see because of the variegation, but I love a moss stitch in crochet. I think it's beautiful. It's really fun to do, and it's got like a nice drape to it too. Oh, I am so excited. This will be so fun to do this. This is just a nice, simple make. Unfortunately, because I'm fading, it's a little bulky right now, but it's not hard to do. So this is an easy like couch project to have when like my daughter's watching TV or something. I can sit with her and work on this. So I don't think this will take me very long. This test project of all my tests that I have going on has the longest deadline. I'm working on this at my leisure. I started it yesterday and already I'm working into the second color. So it's a pretty fast make. That's something I also like about crochet. And I've got a lot of colors left. I will show you, there's like a lace portion that you add on at the very end of the shawl. And I'll show you my swatch of that too, because it is so cool. It's beautiful. These like cool, almost like star-like patterns. They're super neat. I'm excited. This is gonna be awesome. I'm so excited for Jessica and to support her in this pattern design. And it's just fun to be working on something for a friend. I really love that. So I could not pass up this opportunity. I have a ways to go, but it shouldn't take too long. I'm using a 4mm hook. I've got a looser gauge than her. I think she calls for a 5mm hook in her pattern, but it doesn't really matter because it's a shawl. So if it turns out a little bigger, a little smaller, it doesn't make too much difference unless you're playing yarn chicken, and then it could be more meaningful of an impact. It could end horribly wrong. So I just switch down so I could get as close to gauge as possible to help her in her estimates of yarn and to like do the pattern the best of my ability as a tester. But there's definitely some variation allowed as well. The last test knit that I have to share with you is the Pim Pom Shawl by Laura Penrose. And this is a shawl meant for my daughter, but we'll see if she ends up wearing it. I like signing up for children's test projects because I feel like fewer people sign up for those, and so I'm more likely to be selected for children's size. And I picked some yarn that I thought my daughter would like, though after I showed her this yarn, she told me that no, she doesn't like pink anymore. She likes green the most, but I don't really have a lot of green yarn to make this shawl. So I'm like, well, hopefully she likes pink again by the time I finish. Kids are fickle, so we'll see. Oh, now I'm in the middle of a row. You can't even see. Ah, how rude of me. Okay, let me see the best way to show you this. Kind of hard to see. This is my Pim Pom shawl, and I'm using 2 skeins of Treehouse Knits yarn. This color is called Another Galaxy, and this purple I just started adding in is called Dust. So pretty. There's definitely some purple and pink in there, which I know my daughter likes pink, but she also likes green. And at the moment, she likes green more than pink. What can you do? This shawl is a triangle shawl. It's got this center ridge. It's in this really squishy garter. So this is gonna block out a lot bigger than it is right now on my needles. I have it on a pretty short cord because I don't really need it on a larger cord. I basically used up all of my main color. I've got like 4 grams left, but that wasn't enough to do another repeat. But I ended with the right stitch multiple, so I can move on to the next portion, which is these baubles, which are really cute in the contrast color, but also kind of tedious. So I've done them in like groups of like 2 to 5 baubles at a time, and then I'll just put my knitting down because I don't want to work on it. So it'll be a while before I finish this. After this, there's some scallops in that contrast color that I'll do on the edge, and then the shawl will be done. So I'm not too far away from finishing this off either. I think this will probably be my priority once I finish the socks that I'm test knitting, just because this has the next deadline towards the end of February. And once I get those baubles done, the scallops will be pretty quick too. And it feels good to use some stash yarn for that. I bought 2 skeins that coordinated from Treehouse Knits that I really love the colors, but I didn't necessarily have a plan for them. I assumed probably socks. I buy sock yarn a lot. I have quite a bit of sock yarn, but I'm happy to be able to put this to use. I don't know if it'll be big enough that I could use it too, but hopefully my daughter can use it and that she'll enjoy it. It is fingering weight held double, so it's really nice and squishy. Good stash buster too. There's people doing fades, there's people doing stripes, there's people doing a 3rd color as like just the baubles compared to the scallops on the edging and the main body of the shawl. So it's just fun. There's a lot of room to customize the size and colors of it. It's a really nice, simple shawl pattern with some very specific details in like the edging that are really intentional and that look really nice. So I'm excited to be testing this for Laura. It's been a while since I've tested for her. My final project, I'm putting this in whips because even though the knitting is done, I'm like not entirely satisfied with it, so I might do something different. I also have a lot of ends to weave in, some finishing to do. So it's kind of finished, kind of not. But I thought it would be really fun for the year 2024 to do some tracking of my reading. I read 125 books last year, which is amazing. And like as I went throughout the year, my reading picked up because of my job. I started a job in February and just started listening to a lot more audiobooks and falling back in love with reading again, things like that. So I expect myself to read quite a few books this year as well. So I thought it would be fun. I didn't want to make like a big blanket or something. I know people have been doing like a book blanket, but that just seemed like too much to make myself do. So I wanted to make some bookmarks for each month. I got some yarns and I listed out different colors. I chose this color palette and I really like it, actually. Let me show it to you. I used some Ricorumi DK from my local yarn store, Harmony. Ta-da! Such a pretty palette. I am in love. It looks so nice. So I wanted to make bookmarks. I tried a few things. I tried out first making eyelets to mark how many stars I gave that book. So if it's a 5-star book, there'll be 5. 3-star book, there'll be 3, etc., etc. But then it seemed like one side of my knitting was way stretchier than the other side. So I was like, that's not gonna work. Let's just do garter stitch. I did this. I got way towards the end, and then I realized that I missed a book at the very beginning. So third time's the charm. Here we go. Here's my bookmark. I also lengthened each colored section. I started weaving in ends. It looks a little clunky. The ends woven don't look great. So when I wove them in on the right side, it's a little bit chunky. I gotta work hard to like even out this edge where all the tails are. I'm not like a super fan of garter stitch anyway, and so I don't know how I feel about this. If you have any ideas, let me know. Maybe I'll try doing crochet and doing like filet crochet to make the eyelets. I don't know. I'm conflicted. Because is there anything really wrong with this? Not really. But is there anything really right? Also, I don't know. My plan. I've got some findings here. I found these little star charms at Michael's. My thought was that I would attach a star charm to the rows of the books that I really loved, like my favorites. I definitely need one favorite a month, but not just my 5 stars, maybe my like 4.5 or more starred books. So there'd be a couple on each bookmark just to kind of mark which books. And I thought it would be a fun exercise to kind of see which books I tended to like more, which genres I read. Like this month, this blue, I read 3 sci-fi books. I don't read a ton of sci-fi. Not that I don't like it, I do actually like sci-fi, but I feel like sci-fi is not as big of a portion of the bookstores I go to compared to like fiction or fantasy, romance, etc. So the fact that I read 3 sci-fis is pretty amazing. You can definitely see quite a few fantasies, etc. Some romances too. So there's a nice range of books. I do like to read a range of stories, so there's definitely some not represented here. Let me know if you have any ideas for that, because I'm still not 100% satisfied. I think I'm still gonna weave in my ends, and I'm gonna try attaching the charms and see how I like that. I also bought some beads to make like a little tassel, like how a lot of bookmarks have a tassel. So I have some beads to make tassels specific for each month. So like my January bookmark will have a couple beads that make me think of the month of January. So I've got some like light blue beads that are kind of like icy themed. And then next month, this month I guess, February, I've got like heart beads and some pretty pink beads, so that bookmark will definitely look like a February bookmark. So I can kind of keep track of which bookmark belongs in which month, just to have a better idea on my general reading. So that's like the idea. But yeah, I just don't know if I'm thrilled about this situation here. But I also don't know if I can do anything different. I think I will try a crochet version, see how that goes, and see if I like that better. I don't know. I think it'll add a little bit more interest to do crochet and have like filet crochet show off the stars that I give books, but I don't know. If you want to learn more about the books that I actually read, I'm not going to talk about them this podcast. I have a separate video where I'm going to talk about all the books I read in January, as well as my TBR, or the books to be read, on my list for February. So if you want to learn more about what these specific books are on my bookmark, then check out that video. I'll link it up above and down below. It is on the same channel, so you can find it pretty easy. So that's really a work in progress, just because I just don't know. I had a plan, I tried it out, not quite sure if that's still what I want to do or if it makes that much of a difference. I've got plenty of yarn left, and I can always get like another of these little skeins from my local yarn store, unless they like sell out or something. But I think this should be plenty for 12 bookmarks, plus all the iterations I'm trying out. I should just sit down and try to do something a little different with the crochet or something, see if I like that better than just doing a garter stitch. We'll see how it goes. Time to clean up so I can make room for yarn. I have more yarn than I thought I would. Not mad about it, but I got one big package that I've been waiting for, and I'm so excited to share with you. This is Witchfire Fibers, a fun holographic tag I bought from their Home for the Holidays collection, and it was scheduled to come mid-January, so it came. I'm so glad. I've got a couple of Christmassy projects in mind, so hopefully for next year, hopefully for this year I can have them ready. But let me show what I've got. Sorry, my neighbor's kids are like screaming out there. So I've got 2 skeins of Search for the Perfect Tree, this beautiful variegated. There's even a little bit of this red. Ooh, yeah. So I got 2 skeins of that, plus a skein of Verdant in their sock base to make some Christmas Eve family socks. I found, not 2023, but in 2022, I tried just using 2 full skeins of yarn, and it was not enough for my little family of 3, me, my husband, and my daughter. It was just like a little bit short in the main color to do what I wanted to do. So I bought 2 skeins of the main color, 1 skein of the contrast, so we should all have plenty to have matching socks. I'm thinking about doing the Lights on Main sock pattern by Huga Canyon. I'm not sure if that's what it's called, but I'm pretty sure that that's the pattern I want to do for these for Christmas Eve socks for my family. You know, some people do Christmas Eve jammies. I like to do that too, but it is also fun to have like some hand knit socks for the cozy time of year that is Christmas time. And so I've done it 2 years. I didn't do it this past year because I ordered this yarn with Christmas Eve socks in mind, and it didn't come in time because it was scheduled to come in January. So that's fine. I didn't need to add something else onto my list of things to do. And so this will be a this year project. I'm really excited. And then I also got this skein of Grandma's Peppermints. Perfect pepperminty, pink, red, white. Yum, yum, yum. And I got a mini skein set. All the Home for the Holidays minis, because I first met Witchfire Fibers at the Great Basin Fiber Arts Fair in Farmington, Utah. I'd been a few years ago, but I went this past spring and I saw them there. They had some beautiful colors, some remnants of these colors, and she made a pair of stripy socks using this yarn. And so I've wanted this mini skein set since I saw that picture. She was out of these mini skein sets when I went to go shop at the fair. And so when she posted them for this update, I was like, yes, I need my set because I want those stripy socks of the perfect color palette. So that's mine. And my thought was I probably wouldn't use the whole mini skein of every mini skein for those stripy socks. So I can always use one of these other colors as a contrast for this if I wanted to. And then the biggest project. Ta-da! I wanted to make an heirloom quilt cardigan by Katrin Seeberger. This yarn, it's a little hard to tell, but it's white tweed. I've never seen white tweed before. That is so cool. And basically, Witchfire Fibers had this idea, or someone else had this idea and shared it with Witchfire Fibers, and then she shared it with all of us. And basically everyone was obsessed and was like, oh my gosh, this has to be an heirloom quilt cardigan. Yes. And so she put together kits on her website for this pre-order. So I bought a kit. This is like one of every of the original Home for the Holidays colors. Plus this is fractals, which is like the only variegated in this pile. It's got some like blue and stuff to it. So pretty interesting color. I'm so excited. I've never worked with white tweed before. I like the look of tweed, but sometimes there's like too many tweedy bits and I have to pull some off. If you know Aro from Aro Knits of Pearls, she does the same thing. So I feel validated, but sometimes they're just like hanging off too much. And so they cannot be there. Like, look, I just pulled this one off because it was basically falling off anyway. I don't like it when they are like not integrated into the yarn. But anyway, if I need to pull off a few of these little tidbits, that is fine. I'm so excited. This will be an awesome heirloom quilt cardigan. And this is going to be a perfect knit for the winter time, for Christmas time. Look at this, like, not entirely unconventional Christmas palette. It definitely can be Christmas, but it doesn't have to be if you don't want it to be Christmas. But it can definitely be Christmas if you want it to be. So I'm really excited about that. This should be a really fun pattern. Who knows when I'll start it? I just love this yarn so much. I'm so excited that it is finally here with me. I also made a couple local yarn store trips. I did get a gift card from my parents for Christmas for the local yarn store Harmony that's in Provo. And so I bought some things. I bought that yarn that I'm using for my bookmarks. And then I also bought a skein of Cascade Heritage sock yarn in like some white color. Because for some reason, my daughter really wants mittens and socks in white that I knit her. Why can't I just buy them? Anyway, she wants white. So I bought her some white yarn so I could do that. And I also saw this one skein of ultimate sock yarn from Malabrigo. This color is called Gloria. I've never seen this color before, but it was so interesting that I couldn't help it. And I bought it. It's falling apart, sorry. But it's like a rainbow. Lots of pinks and purples, but definitely some yellows, a little bit of blues and stuff, and a lot of black speckles. So it's really an interesting colorway. Super fun. Those will be a really fun pair of socks or something. Not sure what I'll make, but I had a gift card, so I treated myself. And then just this past Saturday, so technically February, but it's fine, I was made aware that there was a trunk show for Candy Shop Yarns happening at Pinafores and Pearls, which is the yarn shop in Lehi, Utah. And so I made a point to go. I showed my daughter an Instagram video of what was happening at the yarn store, and she was really excited to see the yarn all packaged up in like really cute ways. And so she wanted to go. So I brought my daughter too. We had a lot of fun, actually. She had fun playing with the yarn. And she actually told me later on that day that one of her favorite parts of the day was going to the yarn store. So that was just like really sweet. I love that. I hope to go to many more yarn stores with her in the future. But when I was there at Pinafores and Pearls, I got this random skein of Marianated yarns in reindeer poop. I'm always on the lookout for perfect Christmassy yarn, and I was looking at Rhinebeck and I didn't really see anything that was like exactly what I wanted. This is exactly what I wanted, and so I grabbed it. Just the perfect variegated red, white, and green. That's all. Probably will be socks. And then from Candy Shop Yarns trunk show, I grabbed a few things. I found this beautiful textured duo. So it's got one skein of slub and one skein of mohair together that are kind of wrapped up. And this mohair is beautiful. I love, there's some blue, there's this like greeny mint color, purple, pink. So yummy. Let's see, what colors are these? Marshmallow is the color of the slub, and then Celestia is the color of the mohair. I don't have a plan, but it was too beautiful to leave behind, so I bought it. And then the owner, I think her name is it Deborah? I'll have to look that up and see, because she introduced herself to me, and I'm really bad with names, especially when I'm trying to keep an eye on my toddler, so I do apologize. I saw her knitting on a pair of socks, and I love the color so much she was using that I decided to buy the exact same thing she had used. I don't think I'll make a pair of socks. Maybe I'll do a cowl or something, but I love these colors. She had these little boxes. She calls them bonbon minis. So cute, and they're little 10-gram minis, and they're just so little and cute, and they're beautiful. The set is called Winter Wonderland. They are an 80/20 sock base, and then she was using for her main color to stripe in between these colored stripes. This is taffy, which is again an 80/20. Ta-da! This was what she was using for her socks, and so she convinced me. I've been influenced. I bought them. I grabbed this because I saw it and it was stunning and I was blown away, so I grabbed it, and then I realized she was knitting a pair of socks with these and using this, and so I was convinced. So that was really fun. I've never purchased from Candy Shop Yarns before, and so it's really nice to be able to go to a trunk show, support a local yarn store, and support a local Timmy Dyer. She's here in Utah, so that was so cool. And now she's on my radar, so I can keep an eye out for other yarns that she comes out with. I'm really excited about that. I love experiencing new yarn dyers and being able to support other small businesses and purchase from them. And I have a wide variety of yarns in my stash, and so it's really fun to be able to continue to grow and expand the yarns in my stash and to learn about more dyers. So super cool. This is a faster podcast than I thought it would be. I'm honestly not going to talk about any book things. You can check that out on my other video on my channel. But other than book things and working on test projects, I haven't had too much going on. Still chugging away at work. Currently I work 3 days a week, though in just a couple months I'm going down to 2 days a week, and I'm so excited to just have a little bit more time not driving to work and not working. We'll see how that shakes out in a couple months, but I'm looking forward to having that change. But for right now, I'm still working 3 days a week. Other than that, we finished paving our kitchen walls. They were like this burnt sienna, pumpkin orange type of color. They are now white. which is so nice. It brightens up the space so much. There's probably a couple random spots that need to get touched up in like edges and corners and things, but for the most part, it's all done. So we can move on to painting the cabinets. Plan is to do like a sage green color. It's been just a slow process with a kiddo at home. She's 3, so I guess she's not technically a toddler anymore, but slow process. Both me and my husband work full time. With my schedule rotating through nights and weekends and things, sometimes it's just not feasible for us to be able to tackle a project on the weekend, and so we just do small bits. But that small bit is done. We're ready for the next small bit of doing the cabinets. So I'm really excited about that. Other than that, it's been very rainy this week here in Utah. Not very much snow. We got like a little dusting overnight a couple nights ago, but it all melted during the day the next day. We're getting some moisture, which is really nice. And I do like the rain and like the cozy vibes of wearing my knits, drinking some tea or hot cocoa, and being able to snuggle up with some knitting or a book to read on the couch. I like the vibes, but it has been raining for like a week basically. So I'm a little ready for it to be sunny and slightly warmer from the sun so I can like actually go out and run. I've been itching to go on runs more recently, but I really don't want to get rained on when it's 30 degrees outside, because that's like infinitely more cold than if you go outside when it's 50 degrees and raining, you know, or when it's 30 degrees and sunny. So I didn't really want to go out in the rain when it was 30 degrees. So I've just been biking inside, getting my body moved a little bit. I have been doing quite a bit of reading, but it honestly felt like I was doing a lot more knitting and crochet this month and watching some YouTube trying to catch up. My watch later playlist was full. Who knew that 5,000 videos was the max? I didn't, but I found that out. I just like to go through all the videos I've been subscribed to, and I'll put things in my watch later if I'm not going to watch it right there and then, just to keep track of it. And so then I can go to my watch later playlist, find all the videos I was interested in watching from my subscriptions, and then watch through there. My playlist filled up. So I've tried to whittle down some of the videos. I'll pick one video creator and I'll like watch all their backlists that I just haven't watched in the past few months because I've been doing more reading and I've just been really busy and have not watched a lot of YouTube compared to what I used to do. Just behaviorally, I'm watching less YouTube. But this past month, I've been starting to catch up a little bit, watching more YouTube. If you have any creators that you really love to watch, I do love watching crafty things. I love watching not just yarn, but like people like Evan and Caitlin. They are crafty, but in like the scientific resin, like engineering type of sense. I enjoy watching their stuff too. I've been watching a lot of booktubers recently too. What's kind of pulling my attention? I watch a couple of medical people too, since I'm a nurse, and so I enjoy watching medical content a little bit. More of just like the crazy and insane, absurd type of medical things that are just like really interesting rather than educational. That's kind of what we've been doing. A little bit of stuff on the house, but just chugging along, honestly. January felt like it lasted 3 months. It was so long. I don't know what it was about it. So I'm happy to be in February. The year is moving along. It is, what is it? It's the 5th right now. So we're still at the beginning of February. We've got time. We'll see when this podcast video comes out. Since I am filming this a little later than I was hoping to, we'll see how much editing time I have. But this video is going to be less than an hour. And I think splitting up book content and yarn content will be great. So if you do love hearing about my bookish content, definitely check out that video and you can learn more about everything that I read and I showed on my bookmark that may or may not be the final thing. We shall see. If there are any type of yarny videos you want to see, I definitely have a vlog coming up of me reading a book about yarn, A Stash of One's Own from Clara Parks. So I have that vlog coming up. I have a vlog where I'm going to be reading Butcher and Blackbird, and I'll be opening Yarnacious Fibers Butcher and Blackbird like box that they're doing. They're going to do an every other month type of box with some goodies to open on certain pages. So similar to Woolbury Fiber Co.'s Book Society boxes. So I have the Butcher and Blackbird box coming really soon. So that's going to be a vlog coming up. Other than that, I really don't know. Let me know what other type of content you want to see, as hopefully as my schedule for work calms down a little bit, as I decrease my hours, I'll have a little bit more time to film and can just do a little bit more going on than just podcasts. I did a lot in December. And so it was nice to take January off, but I'm excited to get back into filming and to doing a variety of videos for you guys. So let me know what you want to see from me, and let me know what you're working on right now. Hopefully you were working on something while you were watching this video and you got to put in a few stitches. I love to hear about your projects and about everything that you're working on. So definitely keep the dialogue open down below. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will talk to you next time. Happy making. Bye.